Hi everyone, Bianca here from the Vitality Kitchen and welcome to my kitchen. And today I want to share a recipe with you for a hearty winter vegetable stew. Now, if you live in North America, you've probably been experiencing some crazy weather, cold fronts, polar vortex. Those words all probably mean something to you right now. So I wanted to share a recipe that is really comforting, really hearty, but also super healthy and of course delicious. So this winter vegetable stew has sweet potatoes, we have carrots, there's kale, we're going to use some crushed tomatoes to just give the broth a little bit of body. We're also using garbanzo beans, also known as chickpeas, and white beans, also known as cannellini beans. We have leeks, onions, garlic, and then of course we're going to be cooking it in some butter, coconut oil, and olive oil mix. Now the reason that I have a mix is that I love the flavor of olive oil, I love the flavor of butter, but they burn really fast and become really bad for you once they hit their smoke point. But if you add a little bit of coconut oil, that brings their smoke point temperature up a little bit so it doesn't burn as readily. So let's get going. Now on medium heat, you're going to want to melt the coconut oil and the butter. Obviously the olive oil is already liquid because that is what we're going to be cooking everything in. Now, if you have been living under a rock, then you don't know the benefits of coconut oil, but there are many. Coconut oil is an excellent source of medium-chain triglycerides, which bypass the liver and are used immediately as energy, so that they don't get stored and used as fat. So it's perfect, those medium-chain triglycerides. And also, if you have Alzheimer's, dementia, or any of those things in your family, coconut oil is something that you should be consuming from now on, because the fat in coconut oil mimics the fat in our brain, and it's being studied heavily in regards to brain health, mental health, etc. So once all of that is melted and ready to go, we're going to add our onions, leeks, and garlic. Now I think in order to make a really boldly flavored soup or stew, it's essential to caramelize the onions first. So what you want to do is add the onions, add the leeks, any type of onion type of deal, and you want to cook them for about 10 minutes and let them develop flavor and color and just grow in richness and texture. Now in regards to seasoning, I think it's really important to season at every step. So we're going to be seasoning our onion mixture here, and at every step, like I said, we're going to be seasoning. This way the food is really flavorful from the base to anything that you add beyond that, because sometimes you find that you might have a soup or a stew where the broth is really salty, but the vegetables don't have any flavor when you bite into them, and that's because they weren't seasoned throughout. You want it to be completely well seasoned. That's like fundamentals of cooking. So our onions and leeks and garlic are super fragrant. I'm starting to see a little bit of color in the pan. So this is when you want to add carrots, sweet potato, and then I am going to be seasoning this just to boost the flavor with a little bit of Greek oregano and some red chili flakes. Now, it's winter. I like things a little bit spicy, but if you don't like things spicy, you can omit the red chili flakes. Your meal, your choice. So you want to toss those to coat it, and again, you want to just cook it down so that everything coats together and gets a little bit of color. When I say color, I mean little brown bits are starting to form. Not burn, but little brown bits. And this is important because that is the essence of flavor in food, is those brown bits, that color. So you want, again, at every step to season, but you also want at every step to develop flavor, develop color, because that is going to lead to a really rich end result. Season. Good. And this is a perfect dish because it's one pot. You're not getting so many pots messy. It's one thing. You're going to soak it when you're done, and boom, Bob's your uncle. It was easy as pie. So toss and cook those for about 5 minutes. So it's been about 5 minutes. Our sweet potatoes, our carrots are starting to soften a little bit, and again, developing a little bit of color. And what we're going to do is we're going to add our beans, so white beans and chickpeas, also known as garbanzo beans. And when these cook down in the broth or in the stock, they're going to let off a little bit of starch, They're going to let off a little bit of starch, and that is going to thicken our stew naturally. So that's why the beans are there. They're also an incredible source of fiber, and they make you feel full when you eat them. That's so important when you're trying to incorporate more plant-based foods into your life, that you're satisfied from them. If you're not satisfied, it's not something that you're going to stick with. Am I right? So now we're going to add our canned crushed tomatoes. This is the only brand of canned foods that I consume. It's Eden Organic. The lining of the can is BPA free because BPA messes with our hormones and we don't want to be messing with our hormones. Am I right, ladies? Hells yeah. So I'm going to pour in the tomatoes and then I'm going to add some vegetable stock. This is homemade, but you can buy your vegetable stock, no judgments. We're going to toss everything in that. It already looks great. And what are we going to do at every step? Season. So we're going to season it again. And sometimes when you're using tomatoes, you might need to use a little bit of something sweet, so raw honey or coconut sugar, just to balance the acidity of the tomatoes. But because we have sweet potatoes, I'm not going to do that this time. The sweet potatoes are going to take care of that for me. So then we're just going to let this cook 25 minutes. We're going to walk away, you're going to do laundry, you might do some homework, I don't know what you're going to do, but you're going to leave it for 25 minutes while everything cooks out, becomes friends, marries, whatever you want to call it, 25 minutes. So our stew is bubbling away. It has been cooking for about 25 minutes, and this is when we're going to add the kale. So I just put in one bunch of kale. Why kale? Why not kale? Kale is so good for us. We get heaps of like antioxidants, lots of complex fiber, you know, like everything is gonna just get swept right through our system when we have kale in it. And then it's also just going to give some nice color to the stew. And we're gonna cook that down for an extra 5 minutes. And then to finish the stew, I'm going to add a little bit of cinnamon. Now, I like cinnamon in a lot of things because it helps to balance our blood sugar. But in this case, I just want it there because it's going to warm the soup up again, give it some like warmth. When you swallow it, it's going to be like, hearty, delicious, I love it, cinnamon. But if you don't like cinnamon, again, your meal, your choice. And lastly, I'm just going to grate in a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Now, if you want to keep it 100% plant-based, again, leave it out. But I like it because you're going to get a nice creaminess that's going to add some value in terms of mouthfeel. And if you're going to be feeding hardcore carnivores, this is going to go a long way for them really liking the stew. And that's that. That's winter vegetable stew. Easy 25-minute recipe, one pot, and delivers on flavor like you would not believe. So I'm Bianca from the Vitality Kitchen. I want to thank you for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with all your friends, and subscribe because I would love to see more of your beautiful face. So I'll see you next time. Bye.